Today we're going to Australia, home to some of the most breathtaking natural wonders on Earth. Its vast landscapes, unique wildlife, and ancient legends that have been passed down through generations. Among these tales is the legend of Bunyip. In our story today, the Bunyip is a mysterious guardian of the waters, said to protect Australia's rivers and lakes. But what happens when nature is in danger? I'm Ms Sonu, and this is the story of Leela, a young girl who discovers her true purpose in the wild. But before we get into the story, let's learn a tiny bit about Australia. Australia, the world's sixth largest country, is known for its diverse landscapes, ranging from vast deserts and lush rainforests to stunning coastlines and vibrant coral reefs. The capital, Canberra, is home to important cultural institutions, while Sydney and Melbourne are bustling hubs of art, business, and history. The land has been home to Indigenous Australians for over 65,000 years, making it one of the oldest continuous cultures in the world. Australia's people are as diverse as its landscapes. While English is the official language, Indigenous languages and dialects are still spoken in many communities. The country has a rich multicultural heritage with influences from Europe, Asia, and Pacific Islands, shaping its traditions, festivals, and food. From the famous meat pie and lamingtons to the indigenous staple of bush tucker, native foods like wattle seed, bush tomatoes, and kangaroo, Australia's cuisine reflects its history and geography. Nature plays a crucial role in Australian culture. With its vast array of unique wildlife, kangaroo, koalas, and the elusive platypus, the country is deeply invested in conservation efforts. Many Indigenous groups continue to act as custodians of the land, practicing traditional ecological management to preserve sacred sites and protect biodiversity. So Leela's journey in our story today mirrors real-world efforts of many Australians, Indigenous leaders, environmentalists, and everyday citizens who fight to protect their waters and lands from pollution. How, you ask? Let's get into the story. So, our 11-year-old Leela had always felt a deep connection to nature. While others spent their afternoons glued to screens, she found her joy in the wilderness. The moment she got home from school, she would rush to the lake behind her house, one of Australia's many beautiful freshwater ecosystems. She watched fish dart beneath the surface, listened to kookaburras laugh in the gum trees, and spoke softly to the creatures that had become her friends. But one evening, as she reached the water's edge, her heart clenched at a terrible sight. Dark sludge oozed into the once pristine lake, turning the crystal clear waters murky. The air leaked of bad chemicals. Following the sickly stream, Leela discovered something horrifying. A factory hidden beyond the tree line, dumping its waste into the lake. A lifeless fish floated near her feet. She covered her nose against the stench, fury burning in her chest. Determined to stop the destruction, Leela became an activist, rallying her community just as the Australians' Indigenous people have, who have long protected the land and waterways. But her actions made her an enemy of the factory's greedy owners. To them, she was a threat, one that would cost them millions. They tried to scare her, but Leela, she wouldn't back down. One night, as she walked home, a shadow loomed behind her. Before she could react, rough hands shoved her. She stumbled, hitting her head on the dock's edge, before plunging into the polluted water. Darkness swallowed her. But then, something incredible happened. Leela awoke in silence. But she wasn't drowning. She could breathe. The lake shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Schools of fish darted past, and in the distance, something pulsed with light. A massive shadowy figure lay at the lake's bottom. She swam closer, her heart pounding, and gasped when she recognized him. It was the Bunyip, once a guardian of waters. He now lay weak, his once powerful form frail. And then she heard a voice, not with her ears, but inside her mind. The lake is poisoned, and I'm too weak to protect it. So the pollution was making him sick. If he faded away, the lake and all the creatures in it would be lost. But there was hope. Only one thing could restore his strength: a rare flower that grew in the heart of the ancient forest. Leela clenched her fists. She would find it. She had to. The bunyip lifted a trembling claw to her heart. To complete your journey, you must understand the language of the wild. A sudden warmth filled her as power surged through her veins. She could hear everything: the whispers of the tree, the songs of the birds, the murmurs of the fish. Now she wasn't just Leela anymore. She was the guardian of the lake. As she set out on her journey, she knew one thing for certain: she would not stop until the lake was saved. Leela took her first steps into the rainforest. The damp earth cool beneath her feet. The air was thick with scent of rain, soaked leaves, and wildflowers. She moved carefully, guided by the whispers of the trees, their voices leading her deeper into the ancient forest. But she wasn't alone for a long time. A rustle in the underbrush made her freeze. From the shadows, a figure emerged. A kangaroo. This wasn't any ordinary kangaroo. His fur was dark as the night, and under the soft glow of the moon, faint blue markings shimmered along his back, pulsing like ripples in a lake. His eyes, deep and knowing, locked onto Leela's. And then, just like with the bunyip, a voice filled her mind. Leela, the bunyip has sent me. You cannot walk this path alone. Leela gasped. He was speaking inside her mind. Incredible. She took a step back, her heart racing. But the kangaroo stood firm, his glowing markings pulsing steadily. Who are you? What are you? She asked hesitantly. I'm Maru, a guardian of the land, bound to protect those who protect it in return. The bunyip entrusted me with your journey. You must find the flower, but the rainforest is full of dangers. I will guide you, if you're ready. Leela's breath came fast. This was real. She had stepped into the world where ancient creatures spoke, where the land itself was alive, with magic. She looked into Maru's glowing eyes, and despite the uncertainty in her chest, she felt something stronger. Trust. She nodded. I'm ready. Maru then turned, his powerful legs moving him forward with grace. Their journey had begun. Leela followed Maru deeper into the rainforest. The journey was long, the tree whispering ancient secrets around them, their towering branches stretching towards the sky. But soon, a new challenge lay ahead: the river. It was no ordinary river. Its waters were dark, alive with movement. Yellow eyes gleamed just above the surface, the watchful gaze of saltwater crocodiles, Australia's mightiest reptiles, survivors from the age of dinosaurs. Their armored bodies glistened under the dappled sunlight, their eerie stillness more terrifying than motion. Leela stopped at the river's edge, her breath catching as the massive creature slowly glided towards them. How do we cross this? She whispered to Maru. They're everywhere. But then, a voice, low and deep, echoed in her mind. It was the bunyip. Though weak, his presence still held wisdom. The river belongs to them. Respect them, and they shall guide you. Leela took a steadying deep breath and knelt at the water's edge. She closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind, feeling the ancient presence of the crocodiles. Great guardians of the river, she spoke very softly in her thoughts. We do not wish to disturb you. we seek to heal the land and save the waters. Will you allow us to pass?" The largest crocodile, an ancient scarred beast, slowly emerged from the water. He loomed over her, his golden eyes unblinking. "Many have feared us. Few have asked us for guidance. You may pass, but only if you walk the river's path." Leela's eyes widened as the massive creatures shifted their positions, their broad, scaly backs forming a natural bridge across the river. Maru left first, his strong legs carrying him from one reptilian back to another. Leela followed, stepping carefully across the rigid scales of ancient beads. When she reached the other side, she turned and bowed in gratitude. As silently as they had emerged, the crocodiles slid back into the depths, their glowing eyes vanishing beneath the water. Hours passed as they journeyed deeper into the forest. The rainforest thickened, the air damp and humming with unseen life, but the trees, tall eucalyptus and ancient ferns, seemed to move subtly, their branches shifting like hands pointing the way. Leela placed her hand against one of the great trunks, feeling its life pulse beneath her fingertips. A whisper curled in her mind, a voice soft as wind through the leaves. "The flower you seek grows where time stands still. Follow the light where no light should be." And then it happened. A single beam of golden light pierced through the thick canopy, illuminating a hidden path. Maru flicked his ears, nodding. They were close. But something else was waiting. At the base of an ancient rock formation, where the rare flower bloomed, a massive serpent lay coiled. Its shimmering scales shifted like desert stands, and its amber eyes burned with an otherworldly fire. A powerful spirit of the dream time, both a creator and protector of the land. The rainbow serpent slowly lifted its head, its forked tongue flickering in the air. "Who dares disturb the sacred bloom?" it hissed, its voice both ancient and commanding. Leela swallowed hard, but stood firm. "Great one, we do not come to take, but to heal. The bunyip is fading. The waters are sick, and without the flower, all will be lost." The serpent's massive tail coiled tighter around the rock, its glowing eyes unreadable. "Words are easy. Wisdom is earned," it said. "If you are to take the flower, you must prove your heart is true. Answer me this." Golden symbols shimmered in the air, forming a riddle before Leela's eyes. "I'm not alive, yet I grow. I do not breathe, yet I'm needed. I can be broken, yet I remain strong. What am I?" Leela's heart pounded. This was it, the final test. If she answered wrong, the flower would remain forever out of the reach, and the lake will be lost. She closed her eyes, forcing herself to think. The serpent remained still, waiting. Leela's mind raced as the riddle echoed in her ears. "I'm not alive, yet I grow. I do not breathe, yet I am needed. I can be broken, yet I remain strong." She thought about the land, the rivers, the mountains. She thought about the bunyip, the factory poisoning the waters, and the ancient trees. And then it clicked. Her eyes widened with realization. "A rock," she said, her voice steady and sure. "A rock is not alive, but over time it grows as layers form. It does not breathe, but the land needs it, right? It shapes the river, the mountain, the earth itself. It can be broken, but even in pieces, it remains strong. For a long moment, the rainbow serpent was silent. Its golden eyes studied her, unblinking. Then a shift, a ripple in energy through the air. The glowing symbols of the riddle dissolved like a mist, and the serpent's great coils loosened from the rock, revealing the rare flower in full bloom. Its petals shimmered like moonlight pulsing in ancient magic. It was more than just a flower. It was life itself, a gift from the land. Leela reached out with trembling fingers, feeling warmth radiate from the bloom as she gently cradled it in her hands. You have the wisdom beyond your years, child of the lake, Serpent said. Take the flower, but remember, true guardians do not only heal, they protect, always. Then with the final knowing glance, the serpent slithered away into the shadows, its massive form melting into the ancient rock, as if it had never been there at all. The wind whispered through the treetops, rustling the leaves with urgency. They had to return. The bunyip was waiting, the lake was dying, and the greatest challenge was still ahead. It was for them to bring the flower in good condition back to Bunyip. The river was no longer calm. The wind howled through the trees, and the once smooth waters churned like beasts awakened from its sleep. Lightning streaked across the sky, flashing against the dark clouds that gathered above. On the banks, the crocodiles watched in silence, their golden eyes gleaming with something Leela had not seen before. Concern. The largest among them lifted its head, rain sliding off its armored back as it spoke. The storm is unnatural, child. The land senses danger ahead. If you must cross, do so now. This was no ordinary storm. It was a warning. As Leela steadied themselves on the crocodiles' backs, a sudden hush fell over the storm. The wind paused. The rain seemed to hold its breath, and from the shadows of the trees, a soft glow appeared. A figure stepped forward, tall and slender, its form woven with vines and mist, its eyes shimmering like deep pools of water. The forest spirit's voice was neither loud nor soft, yet it filled the air like the rustling of leaves and the whispers of the earth. The flower you carry is no ordinary bloom, child. It blossoms once every 10 years, and never without a reason. For it to be plucked means great need, nothing less. If it doesn't reach its rightful place, the forest will weep. And when the forest weeps, the land trembles, the rivers rage, and the skies turn against those who have failed it. Leela swallowed hard, gripping the flower tighter. You must guard it with all your being, the spirits continued. Take it to the bunyip. Do not falter, do not stray. If this task is undone, the forest will not forgive. Now, as suddenly as it had appeared, the spirit faded into the mist. The wind roared back to life, and the rain struck Leela's skin once more. The storm had not passed. It had only given them this warning. Leela took a deep breath. There was no turning back now. Maru turned his head towards Leela, his golden eyes fierce with urgency. No more delays. We can't have more delays. Get on my back. Leela blinked through the rain. What? Now! Maru lowered his sleek, scaled body, his long form coiling like ready to spring, and said, the forest's warning was very clear. There are things lurking in these shadows that can smell the flower. We must not slow down. Give it to me. I will keep it safe. Leela hesitated just for a second before unwrapping the precious bloom from her cloak. As soon as she held it out, Maru opened a hidden pouch beneath his chest, a natural fold in his shimmering scales. The moment the flower disappeared inside, the glow beneath the fabric of his skin dimmed, as if his magic masked its presence. Hold tight, Maru commanded. Leela climbed onto his back, gripping the smooth ridges along his spine, and then they moved. Maru shot forward like a streak of silver, his body cutting through the undergrowth with impossible speed. The storm howled behind them, but it wasn't just the wind that chased them now. Dark shapes slithered between the trees. Low growls rumbled in the distance. Leela caught a glimpse of two glowing eyes, twisted figures weaving through the branches. These were the creatures that already caught the flower's scent before Maru had hidden it, and now they were hunting. A shadow leaped towards them from the side, its jagged claws outstretched. Maru twisted, his body snapping like a whip. The creature missed by inches, landing in the mud with a shriek. Another lunged from the opposite side, but Maru slid low beneath it, barely breaking stride. "What are they?" Leela cried. "Thieves of the forest," Maru growled. "They hunger for the flower's power, and they will not stop." The storm raged around them, the wind tearing at the trees, but Maru was faster and stronger. He wove between the trunks, his movements fluid and precise, dodging every grasping claw, every snapping jaw. Leela held on tighter. She could feel his muscles rippling beneath her, the sheer power in every moment. They weren't just running anymore. They were racing against the darkness itself. At last, they reached the other side. Leela clutched the glowing flower tightly, its warmth steady against her chest, as if reminding her why they had come this far. And then they saw it. The lake was dying. The water, once clear and full of life, had turned black and thick, like oil. A heavy, bitter smell hung in the air, stinging Leela's nose. The reeds had withered, their tips curling in defeat. The gentle ripples that once danced across the surface were gone, replaced by stillness. And worst of all, the bunyip was nowhere to be seen. Leela's heart pounded. She ran to the edge of the lake, searching the water, desperately. "Bunyip," she called. "We made it! I have the flower!" For a long moment, there was nothing. Just silence. Then a shimmer, deep beneath the surface of the water. Leela didn't think. She jumped. The cold swallowed her instantly, thick and heavy, as if the lake itself was struggling to breathe. She kicked hard, pushing downward, the golden glow of the flower lighting her way. And there, at the bottom, she found him. The bunyip, once mighty, was now only a shadow. His great form barely moved, his deep eyes dim and tired. The water around him pulsed weakly, as if his presence was the only thing keeping the last bit of life in the lake. Leela's chest tightened. "I brought it. Hold on." Carefully, she pressed the glowing flower against his chest. For a heartbeat, nothing. Nothing happened. Then, light. A golden wave burst from the flower, spiraling outward like the breath of the earth itself. It raced through the water, chasing away the darkness, washing over the poison like sunlight melting the coldest ice. The sludge dissolved, disappearing into nothing. The water turned clear, the reeds stretched towards the surface, and in the distance, fish flickered back to life, darting through the lake in joyful burst of color. And then, the bunyip. His body grew strong again, his glowing eyes filled with new power. A deep, steady voice rumbled through the water, filling Leela's mind like a warm embrace. "You have done what many would not dare, Leela. You have saved this lake. You have saved me." Relief flooded through her. She had done it. The journey had tested her, but she had proven herself worthy. Leela emerged from the water, breathless but victorious. As she stepped onto the land, Maru was there, waiting, his eyes shining with relief. The lake behind them shimmered, its waters cleansed, its guardian restored. Before she could fully take in what had happened, movement caught her eye. The factory workers had gathered, watching everything unfold. Among them, a tall man stepped forward, the factory owner. His sharp gaze locked onto Leela, but there was no anger in his expression. Instead, there was something worse. It was calculated interest. "You," he said, tilting his head. "You did this? You have a way of fixing the water." Leela said nothing, her breath still steadying from the ordeal. The man took a step closer, spreading his arms as if making an offer. "Think about it, girl. If you can clean the river, then why fight us? We can keep doing this. We can keep doing what we do. You work with us to clean it, and everybody wins." He gave her a slick smile. "Isn't that a better deal?" Leela's hands curled into a fist. "No," she said firmly. "You don't get it. The lake, the river, the land, it's not something to be used up and fixed later. It needs to be protected." She took a step forward, unafraid. "I won't be a part of your plan, and I won't let you keep poisoning this place." For the first time, the factory owner hesitated. Around them, more people from the village were arriving, some holding cameras, others whispering among themselves. The truth was out, and Leela wasn't alone in this fight. Before the man could say anything else, a familiar voice called out, "Leela!" She turned just in time to see her parents rushing towards her, their faces etched with worry. Her mother pulled her into a tight embrace, her father searching her face for an explanation. "Where have you been? We thought you were lost." Leela took a deep breath and said, "I wasn't lost. I was saving the lake." She told them everything. The poisoned waters, the storm, the bunyip, the spirits that had tried to stop her. Her parents exchanged uncertain glances, clearly not believing what she was saying, and very skeptical. "That's enough, Leela," her mother said gently. "You must have been so scared out here alone." "But I wasn't alone," Leela insisted. She turned to Maru, but the great kangaroo only gave her a knowing look. A glance around told her the truth. No one else could see him. No one else had ever seen him. Leela's older sister, Nora, stepped forward, was still looking at Leela with something different in her eyes. Belief. She pulled Leela into a big hug, her voice full of pride. "You're a hero," Nora whispered. Leela smiled, hugging her back. She had faced storms, spirits, and even the greed of men. And yet she's standing here with the people she loved. She knew this was only the beginning, because the world needed protectors, and she was ready. Leela's story does not end here. It continues in every river that runs clear, in every tree that stands tall, in every voice that speaks for those who cannot. Nature cannot fight alone. It needs us, the forests, the waters, the creatures of the world. They need guardians. Will you be one of them? With that, we're at the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and click that bell icon so every time I upload a new video, you're informed. I'll see you at the next story.